All right, welcome to The Explainer. You know those super dense 100-page corporate reports? Well, today we're going to do something cool. We're going to boil one all the way down into a clear, simple story you can actually follow.
So, you ever wonder what's really going on inside a company? Today, we're going to put on our detective hats. We're digging into the public filings of a company called Catalyst Pharmaceuticals. And our mission? To figure out their game plan, see how healthy their finances really are, and uncover the big risks they're facing down the road. So let's get started. Where does their story even begin?
Okay, first things first. To really get what makes Catalyst tick, you've got to understand their whole identity. See, they aren't trying to make the next blockbuster drug for millions of people. No, their entire business is built on something much more specific and, as you'll see, way more powerful.
They focus on what are called orphan drugs. Now, what's that? Well, these are treatments for super rare diseases, things that might only affect a few thousand people. And because there's not a huge market, the government steps in to give companies a reason to invent them. The reward? It's a big one. 7 years where they're the only ones who can sell that drug. No generic competition. For a company like Catalyst, that protection, that's not just a nice bonus. It's the absolute foundation of their entire business.
And that brings us to their main product. It treats a really tough, rare disease called LEMS. So you see, it's not just some abstract business plan. It grounds their whole mission in helping a small group of patients who desperately need it. And this idea, this focus on the patient, it's a theme we're going to see pop up over and over again.
All right, so now that we've got the foundation down, let's meet the big three. These are the products that fuel the company's revenue engine and really shape their plans for the future.
First up is Pharmaceuticals. That's the LEMS treatment we were just talking about. It's their flagship, their #1 moneymaker. But, and this is a big but, here's the challenge. Their patents are supposed to protect them until 2035. The problem is they are constantly being sued by other companies who want to release a generic version like tomorrow. So think about that. Their main source of income basically hangs on winning these battles in court. Talk about high stakes.
Okay, next up is FY Compa. This one's a treatment for epilepsy that they actually bought from another company. So they didn't invent it, it was a smart strategic purchase to bring in a product that was already on the market. But with FY Compa, its whole story is about one thing, a ticking clock. And this timeline right here, this illustrates a huge risk in the pharmaceutical world. It's called the patent cliff. Look, in 2025 and 2026, the main patents for FY Compa expire. Poof, they're gone. The second that happens, cheaper generic versions can hit the market. And when they do, the revenue for the original drug, it can just fall off a cliff. It's a massive, predictable problem, and Catalyst knows it's coming straight for them.
So what do? How do you survive a patent cliff like that? Well, you plan ahead. You build a brand new engine for growth. And that, right there, is Agramree. It's their big answer. It's another orphan drug for another devastating rare disease called Duchenne muscular dystrophy. The strategy is crystal clear. Get Agramree up and running, make it a success so that it can start filling that revenue hole before Compa sales take a nosedive.
Okay, so that's the game plan. And that's the product lineup. But here's the million-dollar question. Is it actually working? Let's dive into the numbers and do a quick financial health check.
And wow, looking at their latest quarterly numbers, the answer is a big fat yes. Just compare the first quarter of this year to last year. That is a huge jump in revenue. That's exactly the kind of growth you want to see. It's a massive signal that their strategy is firing on all cylinders. And get this, it's not like they're spending every dime they make. The company is sitting on a massive pile of cash. We're talking over $500 million. That gives them two incredible things. First, a ton of stability. But second, and this is key, it gives them firepower. Real firepower to go out and buy other drugs, or even other companies to fuel future growth.
Okay, let's zoom out and look at the whole year. The trend is just as good, if not better. Revenue growth is solid for sure, but look at that bottom line, the net income. That's the actual profit they take home. It more than doubled. That's the key takeaway right there. They're not just getting bigger, they are getting wildly more profitable.
But you knew there was a but coming, right? A healthy bank account doesn't mean the coast is clear. Every single one of these reports has a section called Risk Factors. And believe me, it's the part of the document where the company is forced to be brutally honest about everything that could possibly go wrong.
Just listen to this. This is a direct quote from their own report. After all that good news we just saw, they themselves say that their continued success is highly uncertain. Wow, that's a pretty stark warning, isn't it? So what exactly is keeping them up at night?
Okay, here are the big headwinds. We already know about the FY Compa patent cliff and those Pharmaceuticals lawsuits. That's huge. But there's more. There's drug pricing reform. New laws like the Inflation Reduction Act give the government the power to step in and negotiate prices down. That could take a direct bite out of their revenue. And one more thing, they don't actually make their own drugs. They rely on other companies to manufacture for them, which just adds another layer of risk to the whole operation.
So you've got this fascinating picture, right? Incredible success on one hand and these massive risks on the other. So how do the owners of the company, the stockholders, get to weigh in? Well, that's where the annual stockholder meeting comes in. At the meeting, stockholders get to vote on a bunch of stuff. Electing the board, approving the accountants, the usual things. But if you look closely at the list of proposals, one of them really jumps out. It's not just a formality. It's a huge strategic decision about how to handle the company's single most important asset, its people.
Let's zero in on proposal number 2, because this gets to the heart of a classic business puzzle. The company wants to create 5 million new shares to give to employees as bonuses and incentives. The goal is to attract the best people and keep them motivated. But here's the trade-off. Every new share they create makes every existing share, maybe one you own, a slightly smaller piece of the whole company. It's what's called dilution. So it forces this really tough question. Do you spend some of the company's value to reward the people you need to navigate the future? It's a real balancing act.
And that's really where it all comes together. See? These documents, the 10K, the proxy statement, they're not just boring paperwork. They tell a fascinating story. It's a story of a company at a crossroads. They've nailed their strategy, they're making money hand over fist, but they have these giant challenges looming on the horizon. And it all boils down to this one central question that every successful company has to face. How do you balance rewarding the incredible success you've built today with making the hard choices you need to make to guarantee you even have a tomorrow?